I just put an offer down for a house and it got accepted. So what now? Hi, if you're new here, my name is Carmen and I'm a chartered accountant and a management consultant. Last week, I shared a video on how I went about buying my first home, and I realized I missed so much about how that process looks like. What are the steps leading up to settlement, and how's it like being a homeowner? So I'll cover all that today, and hopefully that helps you with your home buying journey. And as a disclaimer, as always, I'm no financial advisor or a property expert. Everything I share here is a compilation of my learnings and my experience. Once I got my offer accepted, I was obviously over the moon. I went ahead and contacted a conveyancer that was referred to by my mortgage broker. You can usually find someone else too, but I just figured it's more convenient and I trust my broker's judgment as well. A good conveyancer basically deals with all the legal back end of a transaction when you're buying a home. So getting a good one is definitely really important so that they review the terms and make sure it's all looking good. I then received a contract for sale of land or strata title by offer and acceptance, also known as ONA, from the property agent, where I had to fill the details and had it signed. I then had to deposit 10K to the property agent, and it's basically a deposit to secure the contract. Once I had that signed, I sent the ONA to my conveyancer and my mortgage broker so that they can do the back end work of the transaction. It was also time I proceeded with the formal finance approval. Usually after your offer is accepted, I think you get around a month to get finance approval. But because I already had a pre-approval done, this was really quick for me. I just had to send a summary of all my savings to the mortgage broker, and he helped me sort it out with the bank. But if you haven't had your pre-approval done just yet, you do need to send a few more things like my last 3 payslips, an income statement from the ATO, and a superannuation statement, a summary of all my bank accounts, as well as a bank statement showing income coming in from my job. I personally went with Suncorp Bank because back then they had really good rates, plus they were able to waive the entire offset account fee, and most banks do charge like an annual fee. So because of that, I thought it would be a good long-term decision, so that was that. And it only took a few days. Like I said, I already had pre-approval done. I got an email from my mortgage broker to say, congratulations, your finance is officially and unconditionally approved from the bank. It's once you receive a formal approval from the bank, on your ONA, there should be a term to say that you have like 28 days left until settlement date. And because I didn't have a lot of time after my offer accepted and after getting finance approval, I had my mortgage broker push the settlement date a little bit later, just so it met with when I actually was able to provide the funds. So a bit more detail here. I had most of my funds locked in a term deposit, so it usually takes about 20 business days for the funds to be released. And usually property agents are pretty flexible with when the settlement date it can be. So I think just talk to the mortgage broker and let them negotiate with them. I just had to sign a variation of contract to the previous ONA, and that was all Gucci. We can move ahead. It should also be around this time when the bank will email you a whole bunch of documents. I actually got like 10 loan documents, which was very overwhelming, but my mortgage broker was really kind and really helpful. He gave me clear instructions on what document I should sign, and once I had that all filled in, signed, just had to send it to the bank, all as well. Once settlement is booked, you also receive an email from your conveyancer just notifying you a confirmation of the settlement date. Once that's done, you can also start to look at building and pest inspections for the house. Your property agent should be able to give you a list of inspectors that they prefer, so I just went with that. A pre-purchase inspection basically helps identify any major structural defects with the property, any safety hazards or minor maintenance that you need to be aware of prior to buying it. It will also be helpful to know what you need to fix as well. My building and pest inspection costs around $500, which I think is pretty worth it. They gave me an 80-page report with pictures of the house showing what the exact spots require maintenance and also areas that they look out for. Also, in terms of the pest inspection, they made sure there were no termites, no wood borers or decay around the house. So again, that was really helpful to know. Plus, it was really convenient. I didn't have to come during the inspection. I just had to call the inspector and pass the details of my property agent to them, and they sort out the date and the time of when it's actually done. I'll be notified when it's done, but again, I don't have to be there. And prior to settlement, you should also have a separate final inspection where you physically go to the house and make sure everything is working, like the lights, the aircon, the water, the dishwasher. Mine was all good. I went with my partner, and 2 pairs of eyes are always really good. You can always bring someone extra with you if you like. By the time final inspection was done, my term deposit funds were released from the bank, and I can have that transferred to the conveyancer's trust account. Prior to settlement date, the conveyancer also had me sign the settlement statement, the authority to transfer from trust account, and also an authority to proceed settlement. The settlement statement is one of those statements that was really clear, and you can see pretty much everything that you're paying for. So definitely really important to review that document. When settlement day finally came around, I got an email confirmation from my mortgage broker to say that the loan is settled and the house is officially mine. Usually you would also receive your keys on this day, but because the house I bought was being rented out, I didn't get the keys until the tenants vacated. I also received all the other official documents of the house. So yeah, that was that. I am a homeowner. But now what do I do after, right? I would recommend getting home and contents insurance. Because the house was being rented out, I got landlord's insurance and had that converted to a home and contents insurance. I had that done with RSC because I was already an RSC member and they had a pretty good rate. But one thing to know is to make sure you have adequate coverage for the whole house. You can use a calculator with RSC, for example, to estimate the value of the property and the value of the personal belongings that you will store in the house. And that usually will vary depending on, you know, how many people are living and what is the year the house is built, and that will then affect your premiums. Next, I had to consider connecting my utilities before moving in. You can do all that online and you can also do it prior to moving in, so that's really helpful so that you don't, you know, scramble on the day of and not have water. I had electricity, water, gas, and internet all set up before I moved in. Plus, before moving in, I also created a budget on Excel with my partner because the house was eventually going to be ours, even though it's mine at the moment. So he was kind enough to offer buying some of the furniture pieces of the house. We went through a budget to list out the furniture items that we're after and the prices, and also priority level. We ordered the fridge, the microwave, and the washing machine, and that was priority. Everything else pretty much just came next. So I would definitely recommend, because that budget obviously helps you manage your expectations better so you don't overspend. And once I got the keys, I also made sure to change the locks because, as they like to say, you never know who has a copy of your keys. So instead of actually changing the locks, after doing some research, I realized you can have the locksmith do something called rekeying. What that does is they change the coding of the locks and issue a new key for you. So all previous keys won't actually work. And it's a lot cheaper than changing the whole lock, but it still does the same thing. So I went with that. I also installed cameras because I am paranoid. So yeah, depending on what you want to do, you can also set up a security system and that kind of thing just to make sure the house is safe. Next, I also started working on updating my address. I went through my emails and my bank statements just to have an idea what are some of the companies or like organizations I should change my address with. One more thing here I would recommend is doing a pest control. I actually only had that done after I moved in, which is not as convenient because obviously there's already furniture around. On moving day itself, I hired a truck so that I can move everything in one go. I also made sure to have the appliances moved during that same time so that I won't not have a fridge for a long time. Especially the fridge is pretty important, I would say. I had some friends help me out and help me unpack and organize the home, which was really nice. So a shout out to all my friends. Once you're all moved in, you can also start decorating. I personally started off with Pinterest and I just saved a bunch of inspo photos. I also used Instagram and I followed a few interior design accounts, and also went onto YouTube just to see what interior designers recommend. I would say it would be helpful to have an idea what theme you want to go by, because that helps you to create a more cohesive home down the line when you're shopping for furniture. One thing I did was also I used Canva to put all the furniture pieces together just to see if it all fits together and if it makes sense. This is an optional step, but you can also use an interior design app like Smart Draw. I use Smart Draw, but there's also Planner 5D, Room Style 3D, just to visualize how the furniture pieces look, and also from a practical standing point, does it actually fit the space? It is a bit more effort, but I think it's pretty worth it if you want to invest in the right furniture piece. But obviously you don't have to. You can always go by using Canva, which might be a bit easier. Because we did have a budget in place, we did space out the decorating part of the house. So we didn't have a couch until 4 months, didn't have a table until like 6 months later, and that was totally okay because I knew when it would happen. I had a goal in mind, and understandably financially it was probably wiser to not have everything spent in one go. But you can also have your purchases on installments, so that's also another option. And now that I have a whole home to myself, I had to really learn how to take care of a whole house. I had to take care of maintaining the garden, which is something I didn't really have to do before. Learned how to do like weeding and made sure how the retic system works, which actually didn't know how to do it until only recently. So unfortunately, my grass died and some of my plants in the garden died. So yeah, have that checked out. Also had to learn how to set a system. I think systems are really great when you have a big home so that you can maintain some sort of order and make sure it's clean and tidy to a certain extent. I usually vacuum every 3-4 days. That's only because I'm very particular with my floors. not everyone's like that. And I'll usually clean the kitchen maybe once a week or so, but I like to clean as I go as well during the week, just so it doesn't accumulate too much. And also I had to familiarize myself with the suburb, going to work, how does the transport work, and when is bin collection day. I do want to honestly share how it's been like for me, as an individual since I moved to a new house. Physically and mentally, it's actually been really great. Obviously, it was quite draining in the first few weeks of settling in, but now that I'm quite settled, I think it's been really nice. Because a bit of backstory, I actually moved to Australia 7 years ago. Since then, I've moved like 5 times, so I am tired. I just want to have a base, and just having my own space that I can call my own, really great for my sanity. Yeah, it's just been a great joy decorating as well. That said, financially speaking, it has been tough, and I know I'm not the only one feeling the burn of higher interest rates. My monthly repayments went from 1.7k to now 2.4k, so even though I did expect it to go up, it still hurts a lot. So I had to really force myself to stick to my budget and cut down on eating out and spending on coffee, spending stuff on things that I don't need, and learning to meal prep on weekends as well. Even though it's been challenging, I did want to learn to see it as a good opportunity to be creative and just manage my finances better. Like, for example, if it weren't for this whole economical situation, I don't think I'll be as motivated to start a YouTube channel and share my insights here. And that's because even though I love making videos and I do enjoy sharing my learnings, YouTube can eventually become a second source of income if you continue to work at it. But there is a few criteria that you need to tick off. For example, you need at least 1,000 subscribers and you need 4,000 watch hours for the last 12 months. So if you're still watching this, I so very appreciate you. But what would make me even happier is if you click the subscription button. I really hope that this video has gave you insight on post home buying journey. It's definitely been a really good character building journey. I've really grown as an adult, having a mortgage and learning how to manage my finances, learning how to take care of a house. And overall, I'm really happy that I made this decision. So I wish you all the best as well if you're planning to buy a home or if you're already in that process of owning a home. Do leave in the comments section below if you have any feedback or if you think I missed out on anything. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye now!